You know, as you walk around outside, especially this spring, trees are blooming. It's beautiful outside. Sometimes you got to think about these trees. You know, some of them have been around quite a long time. I wish they could tell the stories that happened around them when they were just young saplings. Hey everybody, this is Tony Dominic and
Jerry Spencer.
and it's time for a minute of history or two. Actually, Sherry, what episode are we on?
Well, this is episode number 36.
Hard to believe that we've been going through this. We're actually growing by leaps and bounds. There are more people. I mean, there was a rush of subscriptions last week. And I think if I counted them all correctly, it was 11. So it's always exciting to yeah, I don't even watch these stupid things, but that's the way it goes.
I can't wait for the day that we have as many subscribers as episodes.
Yes, boy, we ought to make that we ought to make that one of our goals. Can we get up to 36 subscribers? I don't know, maybe not. So Sherry, it's spring in Avon Lake, Ohio. The sun is out. Today it's a little bit nippy, but we've had some warm weather and we have more weather in the forecast. And I was out in the backyard trimming trees. I don't know if you can see this. This is the remains of a friend of mine. It was my redbud. Because we're re-landscaping the backyard, I had to cut my beautiful redbud, and I love that tree, but there was no place for it anymore. So, tell me about what we're going to talk about today.
Well, actually, April 30th is Arbor Day, and I thought we would pay homage to the trees. But if you're just going to go out and cut them down, I don't know what kind of homage that is.
I love the word homage. Anytime you can use that in a sentence, it's really impressive.
Well, and there's a beautiful tree behind you right now, and trees are our gift to the future and our ties to the past.
Yes, and there are far too many of them meeting their demise.
What do you think you're doing?
So let's talk about trees, shall we?
Yes, go away, fire away. Did I say go away?
Yes, you did. Well, in one of our previous moment of history, we talked about a postal drop at a tree trunk in Penfield Township. You remember that?
A hollow place where they put mail.
Yeah, it was kind of a makeshift post office. That was our postal MOH, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty creative use for a tree. Thank you, trees.
Yep.
And then there were some other pretty creative arboreal uses as well. Do you like it when you can use arboreal?
I was just going to say, I love the word arboreal.
Well, it was once used as a resourceful holding cell for a described as violently insane man. Don't send me any hate mail because I'm just quoting from an old newspaper article. In Lorraine, he had arrived from, are you ready? Avon Lake on a lakeshore electric.
Man. I'm telling you, it's all about the booze. People in Avon Lake are getting liquored up and they're ending up in Lorraine.
Well, first they get violently insane.
Yes.
They end up in Lorraine. But they had to secure him somehow until, the responders could get there and take care of him, whatever that may have meant. And so you know what they did? They tied him to a sour apple tree to secure him.
A very fitting type of tree to tie him to.
That crossed my mind too. Found it interesting that the journalist saw fit to incorporate that fact into the little headline that preceded the
No.
article. Yeah. So yes, there is clearly a connection there.
Wow.
And that's not all.
What?
Trees were also used as locational markers. Now, there couldn't be a problem with that, right?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, okay. Do you have any familiarity with legal descriptions for real estate? Have you ever read one?
Well, I try not to because they use big words again.
Yeah, well, and if you ever have insomnia, just find a very lengthy one, read through it, and you will be cured. But at any rate, I found one such legal description for a Joseph Moore. Name ring a bell?
Yes, it does. Wait a minute. Let me ring a bell. I don't have one here.
Okay.
All right.
Well, Joseph Moore, as you may recall, was one of Avon Lake's early settlers. And don't we have a Moore Road here in Avon Lake? Oops.
Okay, don't begin this conversation because, as you know, there is no Dominic Drive in Avon Lake.
All right. Well, at any rate, I digress.
I know.
Let me read you just a portion of the legal description as it relates to some of Joseph Moore's newly purchased property.
Okay.
He was the owner of a tract in Avon Township. Remember, we used to be called Avon.
And many people still mistakenly call us Avon.
Yeah. Another one of your hot buttons.
Another one of my hot buttons.
Yeah. Township, lot 18 at the Lake Erie, due north of the 18-mile tree on the road laid in the year 1810 from Cleveland. And that's not all. Thence westerly along the lake shore, thence running south from said lake 1 mile, then east 50 rods, thence north to the shore of Lake Erie, and said lines to be parallel. This property lay on the east side of the present Avon Belden Road, being a strip 825 feet wide and 1 mile long. Now,
I wonder what happened to the 18-mile tree.
well, that was my next question. And if you were a surveyor and Joseph Moore was trying to sell off some of these parcels, and you had to survey using the 18-mile tree as a secure locational marker to designate these parcels, do you think there might be a little problem with that?
Well, I might be fudging that whole deal and calling another tree the 18-mile tree if it was an advantage to me, either more property or less property, right?
Yeah, but John Doe may have said, hey, that tree is on my property. Get off.
I think that's fascinating. An 18-mile tree. That kind of reminds me of my redbud that was once living in my backyard.
Yeah, I'm feeling sad about that.
Yeah, me too.
But I got another question. They measured at 50 rods. What's a rod?
I don't know. I used to know, but my head's full of honey now. I'm too old, and it'll come up tomorrow about 2 p.m. I'll call you.
I was sure you were going to say it had something to do with fishing, but anyway.
Oh, well, that's a different kind of rod. Yep.
Okay. So, you also need to be a bit wary of certain trees. Have you heard the old adage that beware the oak, it draws the stroke, in reference to lightning strikes?
Oh, I've never heard that one before. Beware the oak, it draws the stroke.
Yeah.
So when I'm out golfing, I should not hide underneath an oak tree.
That would probably be wise, because the old timers were pretty insistent that hardwood trees served as a better lightning conductor than softwood trees. So in a storm, you should stay away from those hardwood trees.
And when they were also probably the larger of all the trees in that forest or in that square.
And then, I also read that the ancient Greeks and Romans decorated the heads of their leaders and heroes with laurel leaves, supposedly because the soft fibered laurel rarely was hit by lightning. I don't understand.
Hey, I've got an idea.
Exactly.
These were our leaders. These were the people, in a leadership role.
Okay, we better stop right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right there.
Um,
You know what? Let's move on to good trees
okay.
instead of bad trees. And
Yeah.
we mustn't neglect the fact that trees played an integral role in our history. When our first settlers arrived and they constructed none other than log cabins from trees. Trees provided housing
Yeah. And still do.
and still, well, yeah, good point.
Yeah.
And you know, I also recall reading about a man who used a tree along Route 83, not far from the lake, probably maybe it was the 18-mile tree, I don't know. And
17 and a half miles.
he essentially used the tree as a center beam for his house and then built around it and lived inside there. He was described as a hermit, but I don't know that that's socially appropriate to call him just because he was creative in the use of trees.
There are people today who would give an extraordinary amount of money to build a home around a tree. Just saying, he was ahead of his time.
You know, there's a fun fact.
Well, and I don't know, I think about my trees in my yard, and I've cut down way more than I should have, but we had an ash borer and I had to cut some ash trees down, and I love my street because it was highly wooded. But I remember growing up and my dad telling me about a tree on the corner by my house that was planted supposedly by Johnny Appleseed.
Is
And
that true?
well, at first I go, that's a bunch of hooey, right? Well, then I started doing some research because Johnny Appleseed's name, I have it here somewhere, um, is John Chapman. So he was a real person. And in fact, he did make many trips through Lorain County, and there could have been several, and may still be, apple trees that were planted by Johnny Appleseed here in our community or along the lake shore. So if you want to read more about that, you can go to Brady's bunch of Lorain County nostalgia, and he's got a long article about Johnny Appleseed.
You say anything in there about Johnny Appleseed planting a tree, say 15 rods away from the 18-mile tree?
Oh, no, not at all.
Well, and trees were lovers of charity too. Did you
Of
know
what?
that?
Of what?
Oh, they were lovers of charity. They had a tender
Charity
spot
tree.
in their hearts,
Mhm.
and I read this that after the holidays, the Rockefeller Christmas tree is milled into lumber that is used for and donated to Habitat for Humanity to build homes for people.
That's cool.
Our
That's
tree's
cool.
sweet.
Isn't the Rockefeller tree like one of the tallest Christmas trees every year? I mean, isn't that a big
Yeah,
deal?
that's a big deal.
Yeah. We have a Christmas tree at Veterans Park in Avon Lake, and we planted it maybe 4 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, and we decorate it. So during the holidays, when Santa Claus shows up there along with his crew, there's a Christmas tree. It's pretty cool.
It is cool. So anyway, I think that this Arbor Day, we should encourage all of our faithful viewers to go out and hug their favorite tree. Yours is missing, of course, but you can hug a log.
Well, I've got other trees. I've got a beautiful Japanese maple. It's a little hard to hug because it's got so many branches, but April 30th, right?
Yeah, April 30th.
Okay,
And
I expect to see photographs on our Facebook page of people hugging their tree on April 30th.
that's an excellent idea.
I knew you would like it.
And what does the winner get?
The winner gets zilch, nothing,
Nada?
zero, nada. They get a lot of publicity. We'll see if we can get it into the Lorain Journal and the Chronicle Telegram.
I love it.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right.
get some publicity.
And while they're out there hugging, if anybody finds the 18-mile tree, please let us know where that is.
Yes. And before we end this enlightening version, if you will, of a minute of history or two, I'd like to remind all of our subscribers, hello, are you out there? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and let's boost our population that are attending our wonderful videos up to 36, right? We can get 36. That will be a big day in our lives. So for now, it's Tony Tominick and
Jerry Spencer.
we'll see you next time on A Minute of History Part 2. Bye-bye.